3 lengths in front of Mustadir. Now Very Elegant starting to wind up on the outside. Well, look at it come into it. Very Elegant in a stride. She pounced on the front. 250 out. Avilius looks the only danger, but Very Elegant 2.5. 3 lengths clear now. Oh, what a mighty performance by Very Elegant. She won the Vinery last year. A cheeky peep by James McDonald and a well-earned pat down the neck. Very Elegant won it easily from Mustadir and Avilius. I'd say they've gone that way for second and third.
Then came Very Elegant. Wins the Group 1 Tancred Stakes. Good tip, mate.
Very elegant, very good tip. I know it only paid $2, but when they win like that, it's money for jam, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when we put it out, it was a bit more than that. But you and I once again aligned, and good things happened, which doesn't usually work like that.
Mate, it won with ease. So I really hope that people loaded up and got on. It was one of 2 horses that was tipped over the weekend by the 2 of us that really saved our Saturdays.
Yes, in fact, that's very true for what was a very, very tough Saturday for you and I. I think from what I've seen on the page, a lot of other punters were very, very similar. And mate, look, Funstar came 4th in the Vinery Stud Stakes as the short price fave. Just couldn't keep up with them on the inside there.
Mate, I've got to say, it must be track issues that probably knocked it off. I think it'll be better for the run, and I think it goes to an Oaks next, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I really think I'm going to give it one more chance. It's probably never going to be my favourite horse after letting down the super multi that you had riding on the.
Yeah, well, he wins. He wins that, and we get both. Firstly, we get both multis home, including mine, which was paying over $20, including Gypsy Toff, who I think SP'd at about $650 or something like that. Did you? Well, for anyone that did get on it at home, I mean, it jumped so well. This is something that we got on very, very early. You heard it here first, and I think we might have found one here. These little Queenslander horses can turn into absolutely anything. Kind of settled around 4th, 5th, or 6th for most of the race. Didn't have a lot of cover, and then as it came around the bend at 403 or 350 mark, it kind of popped out and just stormed home.
Mate, it lifted itself and our spirits.
It was a tough Saturday. It was honestly, it was a tough Saturday.
We were in a dark place.
Yeah,
and then we saw the light.
So I was very upset with J-Mac. I mean, I was happy with him with Very Elegant, upset about Funstar, but then the Gypsy Top. We hadn't had a lot of luck at Doomben. Doomben was my meeting this weekend. The last weekend it wasn't too bad for us. We had Snappy Reply in the first or second race where, what's that jockey's name that we're barring for the rest of our punting careers?
Bailey Nordrift.
Yep, Bailey is barred.
B-A-R-D, barred.
Yeah, barred.
But to tell you the truth, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I've got no idea what he looks like. It's probably a great bloke, but he's barred.
No, I found a photo of him later just in case I ever do run into him. And look, as we were cheering home...
Shit yourself.
He's a big lad. Interestingly, obviously the Gypsy Toff win was very lucrative for us on what was a very tough day. And I would like us to explain to the listeners how we watched Gypsy Toff. Now, I touched on this in a little bit of depth on Monday night's podcast that, the racing was very different this weekend, how you usually watch it compared to how you're watching it now. And I kind of think that it's added a different element, a fantastic element. For my first experience, we had about a 6-hour video conference going on with 7 of us watching the races. A lot of those blokes aren't every week punters. You were kind of in and out. You copped the beginning of the video conference while you were working, and then really decided to settle in. There was a few bets. Well, there's lots of bets. What else did we have?
I got to say, by the time I could settle into that group chat, a few of you were blind.
I'm telling you now, I was pissed. We were on the video chat for 6 hours, and we did. So we're following Thoroughbred Central. So we're betting Sydney, betting Brisbane, and then with the Wyong races, I'd take a screenshot of the race, scratch out all selections until there was only 7 horses. Everyone had to select one, and whoever's came the worst had to scull a drink or do a shot on the video, which is obviously very responsible. But geez, it was very fun. And then we're all online to ride home Gypsy Toff, which was a tip that the boys were very happy for in the end. All of them took Gypsy Toff, except one.
One didn't.
No. He went very hard on something else. But mate, if I'm picking them out at a Queensland meeting 4 days earlier, I was very happy with the selection, by the way.
Mate, I was also very happy with your selection too. I'm just double checking here.
Yeah.
I think Funstar will be heading to an Oaks, or to the Oaks. So I think maybe stick with that. But yeah, I don't want to take the limelight off that. It was a great. It was great in the group chat. It was a great tip, and it was great that it pulled us out of a little hole that we dug ourselves into.
A little deep hole. It wasn't wide, but it was deep.
We definitely needed a little bit of pud.
Yeah, so I mentioned it on Monday's podcast. Darren, I gave our podcast a good plug as well. So if anyone's listening to the solos and not the You and My podcast, they will be now. This is where the gems really come out. But I really quite enjoyed. Like usually we'd always be chatting. Very rarely these days do we all get to the pub together to watch the races.
Yeah. Can I just say one? The great thing about the video chat was some of our mates weren't missing their shouts. Like it was, you could just get your own and you didn't have to worry about them shout dodging. Oh, you back the last winner. You get the round.
You get it. We did that. I made that game up at the Wyong races with the last one, and I reckon I selected the horse that came last 4 times.
Well, I remember, as a joke, I went to take the 100-to-1 horse, and you'd already taken it, and it run last.
Gobstopper.
Gobstopper, that's the one.
Gobstopper. Mate, with a name like that, you can't let it go. But look, it was we rode home Gypsy Toff hard. It was a lot of fun. Boys kind of lobbed in and lobbed out when they needed to, but yeah, it just brought something different. I don't know. Let us know. Hit us up. Hit us up on the Leg Up Facebook page or on Instagram or on Twitter and let us know. So even send us a picture of what your guys did. It was really cool. So it was actually the tripod that we used filming last year's podcast. I had that set up on the bench, so I didn't have to hold the phone the whole time, and all the boys were on there.
That worked out well.
What Pat's referring to is I actually had my laptop set up under the tripod so I could keep a look at our bets and overall things like that. And I picked Max up, my son, and the first thing he did was went to grab the phone off the tripod, grabbed it, dropped it, smashed straight through the screen of my brand new MacBook Pro. So I think there's like an absolute massive weight on repairs and purchases for Apple because everyone's in isolation and wants a laptop. So this thing is currently stuffed at the moment. We're plugged into screens, and I've even got a webcam now. So do all sorts of stuff, don't I? And mate, like I did feel like it was summer. I mean, it was stinking hot up here, but like there was no football. It was just racing. It didn't feel like we're missing anything. It didn't feel like we'd gotten, halfway through the footy season and it had been stolen away from us, and we're back into having to watch the races.
The AFL and NRL missing this weekend is a godsend on anyone that follows the races, because the races that are on this weekend just really deserve that the billing of having their own slot on the weekend, because it is just amazing fields. They are stacked with talent. It's really, we're really spoiled with the fields that they're putting on.
Do you think this day may get overlooked a little bit if we've got the footy on? Because we've got 4 Group 1 races this weekend, and the fields in them are unbelievable.
It's first day of the championships.
Yeah.
I do think it does get overlooked a bit. They're competing with 16 games of football across 2 codes. And I think they play rugby union sometimes as well, and soccer. So
yeah, I think those are sports. Yes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of other outlets that they're competing with. So it's I don't think that the racing would get the attention that it deserves from the punter and the sports enthusiast, because mate, your wife will only let you watch so much sport, or your husband will only let you watch so much sport for the females and males that go that way. That's just how it is. You can't just watch sport the whole weekend. You got kids. You got to protect your laptops, all that sort of.
My kid was my biggest issue. Smashed my laptop. But no, it is so true that I suppose. Firstly, being able to see the football, you're only carving out probably 2 hours for your team that weekend, and then, I might watch the races Saturday arvo, or we'll watch it Saturday night, or might watch the footy Saturday arvo Saturday night. The races, you've got to carve out a good 7 hours.
Yeah, mate, it's like fucking putting aside a game of golf where you're playing behind old people. You really need that 7 or 8 hours and walking, not in carts.
Yuck.
Yeah.
How do you carry 40 beers if you're walking at golf? It doesn't make sense. So, mate, we'll rip straight into these Group 1s. The first one is the ATC Sires Produce
Before we get on to Sires, can we just say, isn't it great just being a COVID-free news zone?
Yeah, mate. Look, as far as I'm concerned, it's just I feel like we're celebrating what we've got because of it now. The fact that like I said, I enjoyed Saturday's races, I reckon, more than I have for of the races that I've been watching at home for the last 2 years. Anything that's better is if you you know what? It may have even been better than going to the pub. Like you said, none of the boys are dodging their shouts. You're not getting stung $8 a schooner. You're not, you got to do your best. When I was living down in Sydney with you boys, you got to do your best not to get punted from a pub when you're you're having a little bit more fun, or you're screaming one home. We were going as loud as we all could possibly go because we're all in our own homes.
As loud as we're allowed,
mate.
By our wives.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
Mate, you're spot on though. You're juggling a game of football towards the end of the day, towards the end of that Saturday, and then trying to balance that with watching probably 3 games in NRL that night, 2 games of AFL. There's a massive saturation, and you're spot on with saying that the racing can be given the attention it deserves, and not just for the punting, for the actual horses, the quality of horse that's running around.
Yeah, and I feel like I've looked at this coming weekend's races. I know more of the horses in these races than I ever have. And I don't know whether they're just because they're such fantastic fields, or because, I've just been watching so much racing leading up to this. Usually
both.
Yeah, I'd say so. But usually we'd be distracted. We'd be 3 or 4 rounds into the NRL. Would be 2 rounds into the AFL. Like, we would have done our form, would have done our previews, our futures bets, everything like that out wide on sports. And I actually bet on sports more than I bet on racing. Not now, but yeah, I just feel like it. You're right. This is a COVID-19 free zone. I mean, firstly, because none of us have it. By the way, one of the blokes on the on our conference call had it, so he was very happy to have the to have the phone call.
The
I think.
disease.
So,
Oh, the phone call.
No,
the
he
phone
wasn't.
call.
He wasn't. So he believes he got it and got over it very quick. He thinks he's some sort of Superman or superhero or something like that. So
Yeah. Now he's walking around like he's invincible and can't
yeah,
catch
he
anything.
goes, "Oh, I'm going to walk. I suppose now I've had it and I can't get it anymore. I can help people." I'm like, just stay inside.
Yeah, forever.
So the Sires Produce over 1,400 metres on Saturday. We're on Prague 2 starts back in the Pago Stakes. We spoke about that here on the podcast, and he looked really impressive. And then he came out in the slipper. And the man of the moment is Tom Marquand. Is that how you pronounce that?
Marquand.
He gave it the absolute rive of its life, pushing it super hard. And it just looked like it couldn't keep up over the 1,200 metres. And I think that's why I went off it, because I was all over Prague for this. So I was a little bit lost coming into the Sires, knowing that it wasn't as impressive as I thought it could have been. And that was until race 2 last weekend at Rosehill. And I'll paint a little picture for you and just see if it sparks the memory. So you and I had our money on Return with Honour, and we had a little bit of cash on Aftermath, which was an outsider. And the last minute you called me and said I'm going to have 50 on Holyfield. There'd been a bit of money for it, but let's just get on. And we did. And geez, it jumped superbly. It led for most of the race. And it SP'd at 850 for us as well. So, and funnily enough, that Tom Marquand was on him Saturday as well. So,
well, he won't be on this weekend. He's suspended.
No. That's what I was going to ask. So Sam Clipperton gets the ride now after his big win on Royal Celebration on Saturday. Holyfield is my selection for the Sires at $13. What I thought, because I couldn't see him on any of the rides that I thought he'd be on, I thought he had to go back to the UK for, I don't know, isolation or something. So he got suspended?
Yeah, the other jockeys got together and said, "We got to get this bloke out for a week. He's just winning. He's just winning everything."
Flying.
Yeah, mate. Do you know what? I only found out today that he got suspended, so I'd love to shed a bit more light on it. But
okay.
he's I only know because of the riding changes. So he's gone for the week. I think he forfeited his Doncaster ride to the other English bloke, Robbie Dolan.
Yeah, Robbie Dolan. So. What do you where's your head at for this one?
Well, mate, my head is Ole Kirk. I think at $10. Ole! I'd been calling it Old Kirk all day, and then I think my eyes are just stuffed. It's actually Ole Kirk.
Someone, don't worry. You know what they're like. Someone will write in and correct us. The fact we called him Tom Marquand, someone will go, it's Marquand.
Well, I hope they're back to Castelvecchio the other week when we were stitching its name up. But yeah, Old Kirk, it went out favourite in the Victorian Sires, wasn't it? But yeah, I was going through.
I don't know. I haven't done the form on Old Kirk. I did like it, but I kind of put a little bit less into this race. But yeah, especially after the Holyfield thing. So,
mate, it won its first start. It went to the Sires in Melbourne, and it just could not get a run on the inside there. All its momentum was stifled with about 200, 300 metres to go, and then got to the outside, run home third to Luna Fox, who came out and probably got to the worst part of the track at Bendigo, and it ran on fair, but they were never winning from back there on the weekend, so I think you can overlook that. But Laramie Street, who it also beat, come out and won last week too. So it has the form on the board. They must have thought it was a nice horse for it to be well backed in the Sires Produce. So I think from its trial last week, I think at $10 it looks. My opinion is it won't start $10. When I saw that it was still $10 just then, I quickly got on and backed it for us, and we got $11.81 on the power up. So yeah, mate, I think that's a good price. I look at Mama Reagan,
Not mammogram. We spoke about that today. Yeah, Mama Argan. Yeah.
I look at Mama Reagan and think it just got the perfect run in the slipper. It could not have gotten a better run. On the inside, a couple back. They get to the straight. They all fan. It gets to get to the best part of the track. Spends no energy. Yeah, fair enough. It was second up, but it didn't have to do anything to be where it was. Yes, it obviously had ability. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put it in the slipper. Well, they wouldn't have targeted the slipper. But I think stepping up to the 1,400 metres, it's a big step up. Yeah, it may still get the easy run from barrier 2, but you've got to run up the rise at Randwick.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll get all the favours like it did in the slipper. And I think taking $3 about it against this field, which is not full of superstars, let's face it. But I believe Old Kirk, if it won the Sires, which I very well think it should have and could have, even though Brett Preble's cheeky comment after the race where he said it would never get out from where I think Ollie rode it then, was it? Old Kirk.
Dwayne Dunn.
Dwayne Dunn, yeah. Brett said, I was never letting him out of there. Which is quite cheeky, I think. But, yeah, it probably cost him the race. And if it wins that race, I reckon it's $3 in this race. So, it's
spot on. I mean, it's had, 2 runs for a first and a third. You've it's opened its account with a listed race, followed it up by a Group 2. Third run's going to be in a Group 1. You know, these horses, they're bred to win. Horses like this, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he goes on the week. I think he's a colt, isn't he?
This one, yes.
Is that how it works?
Some not bad owners in it. The Neil Werrett, and I think Neil Werrett's got one in this, and Peter Ty also has one in this. That's Black Caviar and Winks fame.
There you go.
So, money breeds money, doesn't it?
That's how it works, mate. You can't get ahead when you're behind.
Do you know what, though? Another one, that Return with Honour from the weekend that you and I were on in the Holyfield race. Yeah. It got to the wrong part of that Rosehill track, out in the middle, and looked like it was going to run on, and then it just completely lost its way. I reckon at $16, it might blow a little bit. I reckon it's probably worth a couple of dollars. I wouldn't go silly on it because Bartley was also a big run in the Black Opal, but just if you backed it as favourite last week, I still think it's probably worth that 5 or 10 each way just to just in case it runs out and has a blinder. They obviously think it's got a bit of talent with how heavily they backed it last week.
Look, field of 14, no, field of 15. We've kind of given you a couple of names. You like Old Kirk. I like Holyfield. If you're betting around
Kirk.
Old Kirk. I reckon it's Old. Old Kirk, I like Holyfield. If you're betting around it, then Prague and Return with Honours. Mate, let's move on to the Australian Derby, the 2,400 metre race. Do I have to guess who you're liking?
This will be a quick summation from me.
Yeah.
Castelvecchio.
I love it.
Castelvecchio.
I love it how you pronounce it differently every single time. And I knew you'd be taking the podcast here at Castelvecchio, stormed home in the Rosehill Guineas 2 weeks ago. I mean, we're not one to brag about our selections, but that was a very, very good tip. And I think it ended up, that SP'd at 750 or something.
We had 100 at 7.
Yeah. So, mate, I hate to say it, but we're agreeing on him again. J-Max in the saddle, I think he's going to be very, very hard to beat this whole carnival at the moment. Look, I suppose it's a little boring if we go the same selection. So if I was going to throw in a bit of a roughie, and I mean, it's not really a roughie. It's not like it's an unknown horse, but can you guess who I would be?
Oh, mate, this horse would be named after you on the track.
No, that's not who I'm going for.
Oh, it's not Eric the Eel.
Eric the Eel was quite impressive on the weekend, I have to say.
It was against a bunch that, Yeah,
he should have been impressive against. But no, look, I like Zabrowski. I think...
Zabrowski, really?
Yeah, so we bet on him last week.
Fuck, we had a lot of bets.
Yeah, we went far and wide. Like I said, I've been very impressed with Zabrowski. He was kind of put under my nose from the TLU Premium Group. It was one of the tips that the boys sent out in the Premium Group. That was tipped to them for two very impressive wins. We had bet him last two in the Group 2 Tulloch Stakes. We ran second to Quick Thinker. I think Huey was on Quick Thinker, and now he's gone back to Zabrowski. I can't remember exactly. Whether he can step up to the 2,400 is the main question, but it's $16. It's probably worth having a few shekels on it.
Well, that Quick Thinker, they were worried that it wouldn't run out the 2,000. It steps up to 2,400 metres this week. So
yeah,
I think it was an odd comment from the stable that said they were worried about that because they do bring over good staying horses from New Zealand. But yeah, I didn't think it had a lot left, and I didn't think it had the class of the top two. So fuck, you've even got Warning up there that's won a Derby before. So J-Mac rides Castle Vecchio this week, which is I can't say an ad because they changed jockeys back to Williams last week to get a massive, last race to get a massive result of a win. And now Craig Williams is stuck in Melbourne. So they have to change jockeys to J-Mac. What a substitute.
I know. Do you reckon the owners are happy about that?
Wins on a broomstick. It just
poor buggers.
I reckon they're stoked. They would be stoked with that. So Castle Vecchio's got big owners. They sold a percentage to that massive stud too, didn't they? So
yeah.
But yeah, you lose nothing in the jockey there. It's a really nice race. The three up the top. You've got Your Man, the Wizard from the East, has brought Sherwood Forest over,
who we tipped as an outsider, I think 2 weeks back. Can't remember what race it was in. I think it was the Guineas. It did no good, but mate, no one was catching Castle Vecchio on that race anyway.
Not a chance. But do you know what? The interesting runner in the race will be that Skidor that raced last week at Bendigo.
Skidor, yeah.
Nice win. We got tipped it, and I just completely brushed the tip. But yeah, it had a nice win last week. But it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that Bendigo meeting. The track had a massive bias. It's a Saturday class meeting at one of the provincial tracks. So yeah, I don't know that the form out of them is that strong, but steps up to a derby. Suppose why not have a throw at the stumps?
Yeah, exactly.
In form. Can only win.
Can only win, mate. That moves us on to the TJ Smith Stakes, 1,200 metres. There's some quality horses in this race.
I've got to say, this doesn't get your nipples hard.
This is
go get some ice.
Yeah, just ping them out because this is a cracker. We're talking Nature Strip, Piarata, Santa Ana Lane, Red Zell, Trekking, Vega Days, The Bivouac, In Her Time, Exceedance, Tofane, White Moss, Standout, and number 13 from Barrier 13, Loving Gabby. Mate, this is hard race.
That has everything you love on it, 13 out of 13.
Yeah, mate, I think there's going to be a bit of money. I'm finding it really, really hard. Like I like Nature Strip, but it's so unpredictable. It's gone first, fourth, in its last 8 races.
Nature Strip.
You wouldn't be betting on it each way, by the way.
It's a bipolar person's dream. It just it's up, down. It just it's not a horse that you can really have that much confidence or faith in because it is so erratic whether it's going to settle or not.
Yeah, it's just, and like I said, you wouldn't be having an each way bet on it because it's only having a win bet on Nature Strip because it's either coming first or fourth. Yeah. Now the Bivouac, who was kind of our champ for the last half of last year, wasn't. I'm not going to say unimpressive. It was beaten quite well by Loving Gabby and Guy Trey and the William Reed Stakes at Moonee Valley on that Friday night. And then the race before that was the Newmarket.
Yeah.
Like, are we looking at? It's something going to come out and trump those three horses: Loving Gabby, Guy Trey, and Bivouac. Are you looking elsewhere out of those three?
I am looking elsewhere.
What do you like him?
But in my trifecta goes Santa Ana Lane, from Bivouac and Loving Gabby. I think I'm going to put it down to the fact that Bivouac doesn't like the Moonee Valley track.
Yes, which I think you may have even flagged when we spoke about the William Reed.
Yeah, it seems to. I don't know if it's the camber, short straight. Huey was saying that it didn't like Loving Gabby. Apparently, Loving Gabby's a really big horse. Apparently, it said it was getting a bit intimidated and wouldn't run past it or around it or something. But I just think that made that wide open space of the Flemington track where it had success and treated the rest of the field without a contempt, beating him by 2.5 lengths, and then it's other time at Flemington, big open track. It fought it out at the end with Exceedance, which seems to have flattened Exceedance.
Exceedance in that, yeah.
It's not a horse I would knock because it does have runs on the board. But, mate, Randwick's big open track. I can see Bivouac bouncing back. It'd be good to see it do it in Sydney again. I think it's had a couple of wins at Rose Hill before. Oh, actually, it's won the kindergarten at Randwick, which is great. So
yeah,
I've got it up there in second. But
yeah, look, there's been a lot of money for Bivouac, which is surprising. I thought a lot of people would have lost the trust of a lot of people with its last run. Now, you got Santa Ana Lane on top. Tell me why.
I just think it is. At one point, they were talking about it as the world's best sprinter.
Correct.
So you don't get mentioned in that breath. I know they put Nature Strip up there as well initially at the start of the prep, then took it off it, and then put it back up there straight away when it beat a field that technically only had Red Zell in it that started $6 or $7. So obviously they weren't that confident about it. Beat a field that it was expected to beat.
Yeah.
So I just think while Santa Ana Lane, mate, it's been to Hong Kong, and I know it didn't get the job done, but it just, my opinion is it trialled well the other day. Its first up run was short of its best because it was over the 1,000 meters. I thought actually it would come out and blow that field away as well.
Yeah.
It did run home well. It ran home well in the trial. Mate, I don't think that Anthony Freeman would bother going to the TJ Smith if he wasn't expecting a win, because why go up against such a hard field if it's not in its best form?
Yeah, and mate, I think the price on Santa Ana Lane at $6.50 surprises me. I'm not seeing the favoritism of Nature Strip, even though that's sitting at $3.60. In fact, a lot of these prices, I'm not sure. I thought Biv would be a lot further out than it was. I found it really, really hard to have a bet in this race. I think I want to bet on about 6 horses. So we'll have a few exotics. I think I will have at each way bet on Red Zell at $18 and $5 the place. I think Red Zell has probably got one more Group 1 win in him, and it's probably this one. But, mate, I say that with 1-star confidence for any of you premium listeners.
What about this? Santa Ana Lane in Group 1s, 10 starts for 5 wins.
Oh, it's only 50%.
Well, I'd rather take those 50% odds at $6.50 than Nature Strips at $3.30.
Yeah.
60.
Well, Red Zell, although we feel like we've seen him charge down in big races for a good couple of years. 11 starts in Group 1 races, 2 wins.
Well, but it's only won $16.3 million prize money.
It's the Everest, isn't it?
But like we said, mate, once you have that at the Everest on your report card,
it doesn't have to be on the report card. I can see it right here next to 16.7.
But Redzell's given him 2 hoofs up and going, have your Group 1s. I've got 16.3 million.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, look, what a race. This is just an absolute cracker. Look, I think Lovey Gabbing's going to be there at the end. I think Bivouac, I think Santa Lane, I think Redzell. We've probably got the first 4 there as long as Nature Strip pisses off.
All right, break it down for me, bro. What are your numbers in order?
I'm probably going to have Redzell on top. Then I'm going to have 7-13.
Bivy and Loving Gabby. So we've got the same second and third. Mate, we could just stand out Centre and Lane and Redzell for a big result. Bivouac and Loving Gabby boxed up for second and third.
Yeah, mate, I like it. I like it. Let's have a.
And then
we'll have to have a real sting.
And then just stand Nature Strip out for fourth. First 4. Stand out.
Yeah, but then. So you go. Oh, anyway, fuck it. We don't need to tell people how to put a fucking exotic on. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that you should really have a play with this one. I think it's going to be. I do think there's going to be a outright leader here, just quietly. But mate, look, we're just
really.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're going to see something win by. I know it's 1,200 meters. I think we're going to see something win by kind of 3+ lengths. I don't know what.
Shit. Mate, I'm just hoping they go lickety split up front and Santa and Lane can bide its time and find the right part of the track and just go. See you later.
Yeah, just smash them out, mate. The Doncaster Mile, 1,600 meters, and fuck, this is a lineup. This is. You think the TJ got our nips hard? This is cat's head territory. Oh. Melody Bell, Colding, Homesman, Kingswood Dream, Seawolf, Best Today's Mr. Quickie, Super Seth, Ulan Prince, Cascadian, Contepartiro, American Horse, Imaging, the big one, Quackerjack, Star of the Seas, Tally, Night's Watch, Shared Ambition, Natoya, Brandenburg, and Prince Fawaz.
Well, I've got to say, if you are not in front by now on the day, then you have the job ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because this race has, I don't know, mate, it's the best part of 15 horses, actually probably 18 horses in this race that you would look at and go, not surprised that one. Or someone, do you know a lot of the times you'll go through a race and then you'll ask someone, what do you like? And they go, oh, I like, I don't know, for example, say in the TJ Smith, they go, Tofane. You go, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But this race...
God, I hope Tofane wins.
It's only if you ran into someone that said they like Tally in this race, that's the only one that you would say, okay, go away. You're an idiot. Yeah,
look, I think if a horse like that won, it just wouldn't surprise me anyway. Like anything coming up over the back, you'd be like, yeah, okay, well, is that wider field just because the amount of talent in there? I think our favourite is our favourite Melody Bell at $7.50. No, it's Brandenburg at $7, which that's changed. And look, Brandenburg is a horse we've been following for quite a long time. I actually think last year we spruiked it up in its maiden that it won. So it was earmarked by a few of the boys that tipped in the premium. And to be honest, in this race, I was mainly with Brandenburg. That was until I saw it was fave, and I reckon you're going to go there as well.
Yeah, mate. I contacted you last night saying I'm going to tip your horse.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Quackerjack, which is look, mate. Look, Brandenburg. Yeah, tell me why you liked it.
50.5 kilos is why I like it. I look through all their form and see similar dominant performances throughout their
Yep.
preparation,
Yep.
sort of building towards this race. And then you look at where it's come from and where it was going. It's coming from a George Ryder where it carried the best part of 56 kilos.
Yeah.
It drops to 50 and a half. It ran Tiako Shark to, the Bostonian Dreamforce Tiako Shark to 1.7 lengths.
Yeah.
And drops 5.5 kilos on that effort.
Yeah. And Bossy, he's fairly experienced. I mean, not from his 84 Group 1 wins, but he's won 7 Doncasters.
Is that it?
So they have the weight drop and they get a fairly experienced Doncaster rider,
but
I suppose.
To not take that lightly, can you imagine, say you've been punting on that race for the last, since you were 18, or say since you were 20 to now 35, so 15 years. Imagine winning in it 7 times, just picking the winner. And then imagine riding the winner.
I know, it's just...
No, but imagine you riding the winner.
Imagine that poor horse if I was riding the winner, having 127 kilos on its back. But yeah, look, mate, I like Brandenburg as well. I don't like it when we agree, but both of us will be obviously having a bet on Brandenburg. Just so it's not boring, if you were to look elsewhere, and I'll just ask you about one horse, and I mentioned it before, but Quackerjack, which is a favourite of yours. You've tipped it at big odds for the podcast. We love podcast tips. We love podcast tips. Currently at $16 with Rachel King in the saddle.
Yeah, I think technically it just didn't have the runs on the board to win this sort of race.
Okay.
If you made me do a top 5, it'd be in. But
okay.
I don't believe that its run in the Ajax last start was good enough to. Not that it's like you'd have to throw the Yulong horse in there as well. Yeah. If you were going to throw Quackerjack in. But then again, mate, it jumps from barrier 1, gets the suck run. Like if the inside's not, pathetic or off or anything like that, then, it's going. It is a bit of a war horse, but I think I don't sort of think it's been building to go, bang.
Yeah.
In this race.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Mate, I like it. I think, there's a lot of horses in this race. I mean, it is a step above in regards to its class, but it is definitely a step above probably where Quackerjack can run. I just know there'll be a few people wanting to know your thoughts on it, seeing as you've been pretty heavy into it.
I did try and
talk yourself into it.
When you open a race up and you look at the horses in the race first and you go, mate, the 2 I straight away looked at and that I wanted to base my picks around were Shared Ambition and Quackerjack, but I couldn't I couldn't see them winning this race with reading through some of the other horses' form in the races. Like
I thought the same. The other horse I was going to ask you about was Shared Ambition, which is probably if you were taking Brandenburg, my money would be Shared Ambition. But I mean, it's a tough horse. It knows how to win. It's a Group 1 horse, but I don't know.
I think it's only one up to listed level. So that was my big query on it.
Yeah.
Mate, you think that only because it's just won so many times. You would think with how it's progressed.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking the Randwick Stakes was okay. It's still it's a very good horse for an import, this thing from Wallers, but it beat good horses that day, Young Star and Wu Gok. I don't know, mate. It's hard to go past Brandenburg, but even having a fave at $7, mate. I mean, that's 5:15 our time up here. I'll be well and truly on my way Saturday after friggin' 9 fantastic races. We've still got a race after it as well, which is kind of your Get Out Stakes, which is Kiyomichi, which probably owes us, which is probably where the money will go anyway.
Wait, what about if it just keeps raining here, just keep putting money on Melody Bell.
Okay. And it's been raining in Sydney?
It rained today, but it'd have to keep raining. I think it'd have to
Okay.
be quite wet to justify it winning with 57 kilos on its back.
Okay.
And I know they say big weights in the wet, but this horse just grows a leg in the wet. If you just bear with me, I'll find it's heavy form, 2 starts, 2 wins. Soft form, 14 starts, 9 wins.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it's a
They're
freak in
predicting
the
a
wet.
soft 6 on Saturday, I think, at Sydney.
Mate, the rain was so bad today, they called Rose Hill off after one race. Like,
yeah, they did. Shit. Yeah, mate, let's
it was
see.
pissing down.
Let's see where it gets at. All right, now time for everyone's favourite part of the podcast. We were so close to nailing a $20 multi last week. The shortest price. The
I feel like
shortest leg shits us.
you need an intro to this.
If there's anyone out there that knows how to do intros or wants to send us a little one, send us in. We're pretty low budget here at the Leg Up. Well, you know where all our money goes.
In saying that, it's going to be going towards flying yourself down and shouting me lunch so far.
Mate, that's
Fun
if this
stuff.
bloody... look, mate, we might not be able to leave Queensland. The borders might not allow me to come down, seeing as you're well and truly thrashing me. Mate, where is your $100 this weekend?
I could meet you at the border with a table and you just sit
Right.
on your side. You sit on your side and I'll sit on my side.
I'll bring a meal from Queensland. Oh, none of the restaurants are open. Hey, just quick shout out. This is a tip, actually. This is probably the best tip I'll give on this podcast. If you have a local pub near you that has a bottle shop, ask them if they're doing any specials, because if the pub's closed down, they had to move the beer on. Because my local, I'm buying, top-notch beers, and they're doing them for $2 a stubby. I bought a ton of Bolters, Burley Brewing Co. beers, Young Henry beers. Anyway, I know there's a few people listening to this that are really going to make that happen.
Fuck, mate, it'd be hard to go back there, to head down to the Swampy now and go, what? $13 for this beer?
Yeah. I bought it for $2.
What? I'm paying $11 to sit in your establishment and drink this $2 beer that you sold me last year.
Yeah. No, they don't go out for a while either. So, sorry, mate, your $100, where's it at this weekend?
Ole Kirk, mate. I'm just so excited about this horse, and I think it's a find. Mate, I have thrown better money at worst horses. Like, as far as seeing a 10-1 horse, it usually looks 10-1 value, but I actually expected this horse to be a lot firmer in the market. So I can only think that by Saturday it will be a lot firmer in the market, because if I can spot it, I'm sure the smarties out there will spot it a lot easier. So I've had $70 on it at a powered up odds of $11.81. At Sydney
70,
race.
Ole Kirk. What odds did you get?
11.81.
Oh, yeah.
And mate, you use your power ups early in the week because they refresh every day.
Yeah.
So
Not for the race though. So if you can have another bet on that race, make sure you have the first. Yeah. Everyone knows how to use it, I hope. Okay, you got $30 left. Where's it going?
That one was Sydney race 6, number 8. The next one's a multi. Sydney race 7, number 1. Sydney race 8, number 3. That's Castle Vecchio into Santa Ana Lane. At $6.50 times $3. You're going to be looking around 20-1 for that multi. Boom.
And you're having $30 on that.
$30 on that. 30 clams.
You know what, mate? You're not the only one that can tip a $20 multi that has Castle Vecchio in it. $50 of mine is going into a multi Castle Vecchio into Brandenburg.
Mate,
$19.60.
Is that all that's
Mine's got a
paying?
chance in yours. Yeah, it's
Oh, mate, I
280
reckon
by
once you
7.
That's 290 by 7. What's that for? I thought that'd be close to 20. Oh, $21. It is. Mate, I thought that would have been huge.
It is huge, mate. We're having $50 on it, so hopefully we're making it rain. My other $25, going to put $25 on Holyfield at $13, and I am going to put $25 on Red Zell at $18. The shortest price tip that I'm giving you this week is $13. So get around it, mate. Thanks for another episode.
Do you know what? Get in a group, get in a punting group, get in a punting Facebook group, get around your mates, buy a 6-pack of beers minimum, load your betting accounts up, sit around with your mates on Saturday, talk punting, watch these races. They are some really, really, really top races that are being run this weekend. There's no other sport to compete with.
Any of your mates that aren't necessarily into racing, like I said, the chat that we had going last week, just kind of 3 or 4 blokes that they know racing. They're not, they're not dummies. They're across all sports, but they were really, really into it. So, and you know what the other thing is, Pat, you and I also get a lot of people that ask for tips. People that are new to it, try and get them to just select one. Just try and get one in this race. What do you like? Just try and get them, because there is actually no better feeling than looking through the form guide, finding something you like, putting your money on it, and letting it win, and watching it ride home. It like that Gypsy Toff thing last week. I mean, it's a race in Brisbane. Like, calm yourself down, boys. But we wouldn't be going on about it if it didn't come up at the time that we needed it to come up on the day.
With 6 people in a chat.
With everyone on it, like everyone had lost for the day.
We told them we were down and had to punt it to win a gorilla.
Yeah.
And it wins a gorilla.
Yeah, it was very, mate, like I said, well said. I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, thanks for that, mate. I will see you next week. Good racing this weekend. I think we got a little special with Adam Campton from Hong Kong about some good racing over in, is it Sha Tin this Sunday?
On tonight there as well.
There's some there tonight, yeah. But we're looking at doing a bit of a video on Sunday. But yeah, mate, nothing else. Buy your merch, support us. There's no better punting apparel than your leg up shirt, is there? Or your stubby cooler.
And do you know what? A few leg up shirts and stubby coolers that'll pay for that screen in no time.
Oh yeah, buy merch so I can buy a new laptop screen. It's actually my work laptop screen, so that'll be good when
So you haven't
I don't have
work
to see anyone. Everyone's in isolation. They won't know about this screen for weeks.
Oh, why didn't you go to work this week, Sam? The virus? No. I broke my laptop on the weekend.
Laptop. I got no idea what's going on. So, but mate, thanks for that. Enjoy this weekend, and guys, anyone listening, just hit a rating for us. Share it. Get some more subscribers for us. We want this podcast to go far and wide. We want your input and thought on it.
Give us that big 1 star.
No, 5 stars.
Oh, is it not rated 1's the best? Like as in first?
Yeah, we're first. I think one person has actually rated us first.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. Someone's rated us first, someone rated us second, and then everyone else has given us 5 stars. So, mate, thank you, and we'll talk next week.
Bye.